evening, happy Monday. Welcome to the XS Manchester Football Social for another week and another day. I'm Jim. I'm sitting opposite two footballing legends in these parts of town. Manchester United's Mickey Thomas and Manchester City's Gary Owen. Evening, boys.
Evening, Jim.
How are we this evening?
Yeah, we're very good.
Well, Gary's excited. You've got a big game, haven't you?
The big game of the season.
Game against Stoke.
Yeah, we're in the final 4 games of the season, hopefully for us.
Wow.
In the Premier League.
Of course. It could all be over very, very soon for Manchester City. I don't want to say anything to upset you guys today. Cause
Really?
I know what you pundits can get like. We've seen that for itself. If you say anything that upsets you.
Hey!
We are going to be talking about Carragher and Spitgate a little bit later because the attention football-wise has been on that incident rather than the games at the weekend, certainly for today and the back pages of the papers anyway. I'd be interested in your thoughts on this one because the general consensus from what I can tell is that Jamie Carragher, Sky TV pundit, former Liverpool player, should be sacked from Sky TV. That is the vibe that I'm getting on Twitter at the moment. But I want to know, is that kind of an overreaction? Is this going to blow over in a couple of weeks? Is everyone going to just forget about it and move on? Your views, 0345 111 7625 is the phone number, 87711 is the text number. We're going to come on to this a little bit later, but I do want to play you something now. And Jamie Carragher appeared on this programme on Thursday, as it would happen, talking ahead of Manchester United-Liverpool, and he gave a very interesting view on what it's like being a pundit and remaining professional even when people are criticising you or your team's not playing so well. In light of recent events, this is a very interesting clip. Have a listen to this.
I think your own club makes you emotional, whereas other clubs, you try and keep your analyst head on, if you like, and say exactly what's right and what's wrong. To be honest, when you get emotional with your own team, it's more when they lose, and at times you can be a little bit too critical of your own team, and you start thinking and shouting like a supporter really does in the pub after the game. And I think we know what it's like, don't we, when you've had a few bevies after the game, you're all angry, you wake up the next morning and think, well, it wasn't that bad, I shouldn't have said that, or I got a bit carried away, because that's what football does to all of us.
It's a very interesting and insightful clip, that. Sometimes you get a bit carried away, you get over-involved with the passion of your team. I think we can all relate to that. So we'll be talking about Jamie Carragher and the incident where he appeared to spit on a fan and their daughter a little bit later. 0345 111 7625 is the phone number. We're going to be talking about the game that caused that reaction as well. Manchester United's win over Liverpool. More parking the bus for Jose, or was it a Mourinho masterclass? And a masterclass that will be key if United do finish second in the Premier League table this season. But we are going to start with tonight's game. As we say, 4 more games potentially for City, and that's it.
Might be less than 4.
Could be not less than 4.
Could
it's incredible, isn't it?
Four.
The Premier League race could be over. It's been a quiet weekend for Manchester City. It's been a quieter March, or the rest of March. This is the last game until the 31st. Is it going to be difficult for City to get up for this game?
No way.
You think they're going to be up for it, even though the Premier League's kind of
They'll
done?
come right out of the traps. They want it bad. They want to get this out of the way as quickly as possible. We've got United... we've got Stoke, Everton and the United game. It depends on that result. If we can turn United over, then it might well be the end of it, because United are our closest rivals at the moment, although a number of points behind us. If we beat United, it could be over before then. It depends on what United do. It could be over on that day, or it might be we have to go to Tottenham, or it might go all the way to the end of the season. So there's plenty of permutations, but coming from inside the club, they want this cleared up as quickly as possible. Champions League's coming up. You never get in this sort of situation many times in your life, if ever. So they need to take advantage of it. And after that performance against Basel, I know those changes, and it won't. The players that played there won't play tonight. He'll send out the big guns, and he'll want to get this job done. So good luck, Stoke.
Complacency's the danger, though, isn't it?
There'll be no complacency, I can assure you. There was no complacency against Basel. It's just that we had no killer instinct. Why? Because you put 6, 7, 8 players in a side and expect them all to play together. Sane. Jesus didn't look the player he did. But you can have those days.
He's coming back from injury as well, isn't he?
Yeah, of course. He didn't look the player. And there was no killer instinct to us, which is a bit different. Apart from the Sane, he gave as much as he could do. He's wide. But it'd be a different Manchester City side. Thankfully, we didn't have to depend on that result. I think if we did have to depend on that result, we wouldn't have played that team. He wants to players.
Do you think it was the right team? Because I saw a lot of fans saying that it wasn't the right team. They were disappointed with the manner of the game.
No, listen, the team itself, when you look at names, the names was fine enough. They should have beaten Basel. And to be fair, when we won the look, we should have been 2 or 3 in the look before even a half time. It wasn't, and that's what happens in not just Premier League side, but when you play Champions League. If you don't take your chance, it comes back to bite you. And they weren't. I mean, there was no... We had 900 and odd passes. I mean, it's a record in Champions League, but 900 and odd passes doesn't make any difference if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what happened. Tonight will be different.
Do you see any danger that performances like the Basel one, and potentially once the league is tied up, that if that level of effort is now, we saw it with Pep Guardiola at Bayern Munich when they won the league, they took their foot off the gas in the league, and subsequently the Champions League.
Well, they didn't take their foot off the gas. What they did was he rotated the players too much. Okay. So when the players come back in, and Mickey will tell you, when you're on a roll, you want to be playing all the time. It doesn't matter whether you've won the league, not won the league. You want to be playing. You enjoy winning. You enjoy going out playing with your team. You enjoy scoring goals. You enjoy winning. And he will not make that mistake again. He did it with Bayern, and he came unstuck against Barca, his former side. He said he won't make that mistake again, and absolutely right. You need to keep people... I understand why he played those players against Basel, because he wanted to give game time to some of those players. Some of those players may need to play before the end of the season, and probably will play before the end of the season. So he needs them a little bit match fit, but there'll be no messing with the team. There'll be no tinkering. There'll be no giving people just a run out for today. He's going to Stoke to win that game.
Well, Sergio Aguero isn't going to play. He's got a knee injury. Not a bad time to get an injury when you've got a massive gap between games, but he's been the main man recently, and he's going to be missed from that team, isn't he?
Well, he scored 31 goals, I think now. Of course he is. Anybody that scores goals will be missed. But Jesus comes back in. That game against Basel will be better for his fitness, and hopefully we'll see a different Gabriel Jesus tonight, but the rest of the side will be, as you expect, that got us into the position we're in, and hopefully take us into a position that we want to be in and go 16 points clear.
I'll tell you what, the unsung hero of Manchester City's season is the medical staff. When you look at Jesus coming back when Aguero's gone off injured, and now Fernandinho could be back for tonight's game as well. How are they getting people fit and ready and back playing when they should be injured for months?
I think they take them to the Holy Land and dip them in that water. I think, and then they come out and they're refreshed. Yeah, exactly. I've no idea how they get him fit. First of all, he's got a hamstring that keeps people out for 6-7 weeks. He's back after 2, but I don't think it was a proper tear. I think it was just a strain, so it was a precaution. Will they start him tonight? Probably not, because they've got then another 14 days. He might be on the bench. Will they start him? Probably not. If that strain, let it clear up completely. But I don't know how he's done in training, so it'll become very clear.
I'm Jim, and this is the XS Manchester Football Social. Mickey Thomas and Gary Owen in the studio. If you want to get involved in tonight's discussion, 0345 111 7625 is the phone number. 87711 is the text number. We're going to be talking about Jamie Carragher and the spitting incident very, very soon. I asked for your texts and your comments on that a little bit earlier, and we've had a text in here. Now, our text system at XS Manchester takes out any swear words, so I can't see them. It doesn't offend my delicate eyes, and it just inserts it with text missing instead of any swear words or anything offensive. This text reads, text missing, text missing, text missing, from Kenny the Builder. So obviously some strong views. I've just got absolutely no idea what those views are. If you want to share yours, 87711 is the text number. We're talking about that very soon. But first, we're going to talk about Manchester United and their game at the weekend versus Liverpool. And we're welcoming another guest into the studio right now. Welcome Gary France, who's the author of a new book called Life, Liberty and the Pursuit of United, an Englishman's quest to remain connected to his team from the other side of the pond, and that team is, of course, Manchester United. Gary, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me on, Jim. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for coming in. Now, you were at the Liverpool game this weekend.
I was. I arrived on Thursday morning in from Detroit, and I didn't have a ticket. I just wanted to be here because... Contacts. Suddenly, I'm up meeting all my friends that I grew up with. I've stayed with them since, 3 years of age, and we're out here in one of the pubs. I get this text from a contact, and... suddenly I'm in the ground for the match. I couldn't believe it the day that the book comes out, which was my intention coming over here, but I had no idea that I was going to...
How long has it been since you last set foot inside Old Trafford? Because obviously the book's all about you supporting Manchester United over from the States.
Yeah, I left around 95, and the last game I went to, I believe it was Bury in the FA Cup, third round. I think it was around 93. I think they won 2-0. That was the last time. It was an absolute adrenaline rush on Saturday. I met up with Andy Mitten.
Did it feel different? Being that long ago?
Very different. Absolutely very different, yeah. And in so many ways. I mean, there was things there I'd never... just the whole security side of it, the stadium itself. I used to go on the United Road paddock. I didn't have a season ticket, but I used to come over. I lived over near Preston, so I used to just come on my Todd to the matches, and it was very different. Yeah.
It's really difficult to imagine from my point of view. Now, I'm a little bit younger than you boys.
Let your face know it.
And from my experience, watching football is a global thing. Anywhere I've been in the world, I've been able to get football scores on my phone. I've been able to watch Sky TV in bars I've walked into. And the only experience I've got of it being slightly more difficult to watch football is during World Cups when the time shift's different. So what was it like for you going over to the States and then... Because obviously if I wrote a book about that, it's not very interesting. It's just talking about watching games on Sky.
Well,
but for you, what was it like going back to the time you moved across?
At that time, the umbilical cord was cut. That was it. I mean, I got off the plane and I was, how the heck do I keep in touch with this? It was 2- and 3-week-old newspapers. It was transatlantic phone calls to my dad, holding the phone up at Match of the Day interviews. It was shortwave radio, the BBC, World Service, fading in and out, second half, that's all you had. And then the lad who'd hired me over there is a Finnish guy, lazy-eyed Finn, I call him in the book. And
sounds like a gangster.
He looked like a gangster. And we were out for a beer one night. It was all about Detroit Red Wings. That's what I kind of attached with. That was the only sport fix I had. He hands me this newspaper, and it says live Premier League matches. I call it in the book the Britannia Club, and it was just northern suburb of Detroit, the only place in Michigan that you could watch live soccer. So every Saturday morning, suddenly everything changed. I go into this darkened den, and the characters that I met in there, it was like an old...
We've been in there, Mickey, haven't we? But no football going on.
Bingo night, yeah. They had
depending which number you got, yes.
They had an authentic red telephone box, a bust of Queen Victoria, Canadian MC, down comes the screen, 15 books in, and it was all these characters that I hung with, and that just propelled me to write this book.
And so how does all this make a book? How does you trying to stay connected with your football team?
Great question.
Because this is a sizable book we've got here. It's like 500 odd pages.
Yeah, it was great.
It's burning my fingers touching it.
Good lad, good lad.
I like the light blue though.
Yeah. It's basically a soccer memoir. It's in 2 parts. It starts in Great Britain. I realised that I had to earn the right to write this book. I had to let the reader understand my passion for United. So I try and engage that side of the story on British soil. I actually leave for the States in the book the day after Ludic McCloskey thwarted us at Upton Park and Blackburn Rovers won the title.
Remember it well.
Yeah. And I'm listening to that on the radio up at my dad's cottage in Scotland because he didn't have Sky TV. So, to answer your question directly, when I'm over there, all these fences that I'm jumping over to try and connect with my team, I was just saying to Mickey when I came in, I remember listening when the internet came in towards the end of this, but prior to the treble journey that I had, the treble victory, we did hear those, and we found out it was Century, right?
Yeah.
We'd have those little feeds from Mickey coming through. But so many of these characters, it is my passion for United, but there's so many other characters in this book who tell their story vicariously through me. And I'm collecting these characters as I go along. So that kind of, puts that thread there. And of course, all roads lead to the treble. Yeah. And all these characters are together in the first ever soccer pub that we'd come in. I used to do a radio show over there. I'd never been in a station in my life. And I basically went in, learned all the ropes, called it the British Invasion. They gave me a Saturday morning show. And of course, I was playing all the music from the 60s and 70s. And I just took a chance to preach a bit of United gospel as well. And there was Scousers calling in. There was all kinds of people. So I'm just collecting these characters. I didn't realise that there was all these expats out there trying so hard to reconnect with the game. So...
Sounds like a top read, and I love the idea of going back through your team's history and reconnecting with all those moments and players from the past as well, because everybody likes a bit of nostalgia when football is concerned. So it's out now. It's called Life, Liberty and the Pursuit of United, an Englishman's quest to remain connected to his team from the other side of the pond. I assume you can get it on Amazon and all the usual
Thanks for asking, Jim. Yeah, we're trying to... It's a lad who's... I'll be quick here. It's a lad who's published it. He's a Mancunian lad himself. John Wilson runs the publishing company, Fish Out Water Books. It's on Amazon. There'll just be a slight delay with the orders coming in because we're getting everything sent over here, for the English side of things. But go on Amazon, put the book in, my name in, and you'll you'll be able to order it.
Top man. Cheers, Gary. Stick around. We'll talk about the game now and get your opinion on how that happened. Mickey, I mean, was it boring? Was it boring, or was it Mourinho masterclass?
Come on, Liverpool came here. Liverpool came to Old Trafford, and Gio knows how much I like Liverpool.
I had to go to Huddersfield not to watch it.
Well, I have to say, Liverpool came with such confidence that this was going to be a formality. They were going to beat us. We started exceptionally well. We got 2 good goals. Rashford, for me, was on fire. We got the result first half. We never really started the second half as we started the first. We sat back. We invited them forward. Bailey scores that own goal. I don't know how he got that ball in the back of net, but he did.
It's a talent.
And it gave them a little bit of a lifeline, but really, I think overall United deserve to win the game, and that's not being over-biased. And I mean, but you probably agree with me?
Absolutely.
2 Reds. Are they going to? Of course, they're not going to argue.
To be completely honest, though, the pair of you, when a team like Liverpool, this is supposed to be. United fans constantly tell me the big rivalry is Liverpool. It's not City, it's Liverpool.
They bottled it.
So when your team, your big opposition, is coming to your home game, do you not want to play with a little bit more ambition?
We did.
I thought we did. I thought it was a game in 2 halves. I thought it was a microcosm of our season. I thought he shut shop second half. Obviously, they're inviting him on to us. But I'll tell you one thing. I couldn't get over the atmosphere.
Yeah.
All this talk about, United, Old Trafford. I mean, I was in the North Stand close to Stretford End. It was absolutely banging.
I think because it was Liverpool, that's
course.
what it was, really.
It has been 25 years since you've been back.
One or two more people in there. Yeah.
I love
They saved it for you.
Yeah, I think in the performance, Jim, as you quite rightly said, it was a good performance against Liverpool, but they never really came to play, really. They were a little bit negative in terms of, Salah was anonymous. He never had a kick of the ball. Marnie was very poor. But United did the job on the match. So many midfields, midfield, you play there yourself. A young lad hasn't got a great lot to his game yet, but he's learning the game. But what he has, that energy and that aggression that you have in the midfield, that disrupts the opposition, and he certainly did that to perfection.
Now, this is a question I'm going to ask both of them, and let's just see what answer I get from it. Did United look more of a team without Pogba in it?
Well, Pogba was injured, but without Pogba in the team, I thought United did cope well with the game. Liverpool came with a good reputation, guys. You've seen them against City. They are a team full of confidence, but they didn't seem to play, did they? No. They seemed to knock them out the stride.
I think it was more balanced.
Exactly.
It was more balanced,
Pogba
and I think
is a little bit indisciplined.
Well,
he goes, then other people's got to fit in.
Yeah, hell of a
and then
talent.
when you start pulling people around, gaps open.
Absolutely,
and that's what they want.
I think the McTominay and Matic duo in there, it's playing into how Jose wants to play it. So the balance with her, I felt.
Rashford, for me, Gio, you like him.
I do like Rashford.
He was so direct, and the right back, he tore him to shreds. He really did. He gave him a torrid time, and he's on a hat-trick, but he came off. He's had an injury, hasn't he? So he came off, I think. But you saying about what? Go on, say. You know what you're going to say?
Well, listen. Mourinho doesn't tell any lies. We all know that, don't we? Of course, he speaks right from the truth every time he opens his goal. But this time he said he went in at half-time, not giving a team talk to his players. He was listening to Sky Sports, listening to Gary Neville, obviously, because Gary Neville's been a manager, so he thought he'd take a few tips off him. And he said that Rashford could get sent off. And now I went to the game, but was Rashford, he got booked, did he? Did he look as though he could be liable to get sent off? So he decided to take him up before he got sent off.
Gary Neville's advice, apparently, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it was.
But he doesn't listen to Neville or Souness, he says in his
I think we all agree on this. This result was important for United to get a little bit of a...
The last 2 games, Mickey, let me just say, I said to you, didn't I? Chelsea game.
Yeah, you did.
Chelsea and United, and Chelsea and Liverpool.
2 big games.
That is unbelievable, 6 points. You lose those 2 games.
Yeah.
Let's look where you would be. 6-2, you'd be on 59 points. You'd have been outside the top 4.
Yeah.
That's
so
how
those
big those
2 games were crucial.
And you win the 2 games and you stayed the top of those 3. It's challenging.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Marcus Rashford for a minute, because as you said, he had a good game. Rare start for him, which has been, we had De Boer saying before the game that it was a pity that Mourinho was his manager, and Mourinho hit back and said, well, you're the worst manager in Premier League history, so what's your opinion count? But there is we've all called for Marcus Rashford to play more games this season, and he starts a game and he pops up with the goals. That's got to be validation of his place in the team, hasn't it?
Well, I have to say, it's not his natural position. No. He's more central. He can cause more damage, but with Lukaku there, and we've obviously got Sanchez there now as well in that central position, he's going to find it difficult. But if he continues to do what he does and score goals in that fashion, But he is effective from that left-hand side, coming on to his right side. He really is effective, Gio.
He's not a wide player.
No, he's not, but when he comes in on that right foot, he can bend it, like he demonstrated against Liverpool.
Yeah, listen, of course you get players playing that position, but Martial, United bought him it'll add up to over 58 million, I think, by the time they paid, if he does whatever he needs to do with all the add-ons. But they bought him as a centre-forward. Rashford, when he got in the team, got in by fluke. Van Gaal had an injury. He had to put him in. He wasn't even... I don't think he was playing regularly in the under-19s, under-80s, what it was. But he had to put him in. Scores 2 goals against... Arsenal. Marymore or somebody.
Mitchell.
After then. And the rest is history. But for me, it's his best position. He's got pace. Him and Lukaku together would be a perfect.
I thought what was interesting was the crowd's reaction when they took him off. The whole place was booing.
Yeah, they were, I think, disappointed that he came off.
Well, they hadn't heard Gary Neville, had they?
but I just think that, the result was more important than individual performances, because, as Gio mentioned before, this was a massive game. In terms of Liverpool, the confidence they came to Old Trafford, they went obviously back with a tail between the legs, didn't they?
There's obviously a wider implication.
That was pleasing. More pleasing that we stopped them. Their forward department is probably one of the best in the Premier League, alongside City. Yeah. So to stop them as we did was magnificent.
Liverpool play better against some... United played it, even though they're the home side, probably played the right way, because the personnel can't play the way Liverpool play, I believe, because they're on the front foot going. They don't play that way. So it limited Liverpool to space. It limited the front three to play how they're going to play.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And only an absolute...
And Ashley Young was superb in keeping
Salah in his pocket.
Incredible. The other implication of Rashford playing this weekend, and as I say, we'd like to see him getting more game time, is Harry Kane's injury. We don't know how severe his ankle injury is yet, but it could potentially put him out for the season, could put him out for the World Cup. We don't know yet. So Rashford's very important to England.
Well, Gio said about him playing in his natural position. Well, that would be an ideal situation, guys, wouldn't it? Because if Kane was not fit, with the reputation that he's getting, and that 2 goals against a very top team, that would certainly put him in the front.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, who else would you put there?
Vardy's well. Vardy.
Vardy will probably
presuming that Gareth Southgate will take 4 strikers to the World Cup.
Name another 2 then.
If Kane's out, and you've got Rashford and Vardy, who are your other 2 strikers? Where do those forward line come from?
Rodriguez looked as though he's getting back to his best with Southampton, they've had West Brom, but they've had a dreadful season, and it's not helped his England opportunities. But when you're looking for English strikers, you are really struggling to take to the World Cup.
You're looking at people like Troy Deeney and Glenn Murray who are scoring goals, but they're not. Surely not England standard.
World, Deeney and Murray are not international footballers. I'm sorry.
No.
Speaking of strikers, Lukaku. Now, he notched up an interesting stat this weekend. He notched up more assists than he's ever had playing in the Premier League season before. He's got 14 goals. He's got more assists than any other striker in the Premier League as well. Has the criticism... We know Mickey's view on this, Gary, so what's your view on this as someone coming into this? He's been criticised a lot this season for his performance in games and his lack of impact. Has that been unfairly so?
I think so. I think watching him closely on Saturday, one frustration was when we were trying to get out in that second half, he wasn't running the channels much. He was just staying very central. It was limiting, and that ball just kept coming back. And I think a lot of the crowd around me was screaming for him to be a little bit more mobile. I think that's a bit...
I think on that, I watched that specifically because I thought the ball out for the defence was obviously erratic. They just booted it anywhere. Yeah. He didn't have that quality to hold that ball because the ball was in the air and it wasn't anywhere near him. He had to go and try and close it down.
Yes.
So in that respect, I think it's very difficult to criticise me in terms of holding that ball up, because you're quite right. We were under pressure. Certainly Liverpool came forward second half.
They had to do though, Mickey. They were 2-0. They had no option. They had to come
out of defence to Lukaku wasn't what it should have been, and that he found it difficult to get hold of that ball.
Yeah, and I think those stats, Jim, like you say, they speak for themselves. I mean, he's flying, really, in terms of goals and assists, and you can't... If you'd have said that at the beginning of the season, you'd take it,
The other big news over the last 24 hours is Michael Carragher confirming his retirement at the end of the season. We already spoke about McTominay and his impact on the game. Is he the natural replacement for Carrick, Mickey? Can you see him slotting in?
Well, he
and
has
doing the job that
similarities
Carrick's
because he plays a simple ball and he does it well. McTominay, he's in the same sort of bracket as Carragher, but Carragher is an exceptional individual who's been a great player for Manchester United. Never really got the plaudits that he should have done, but when he's in that side, he was a very calming influence. He could control the game. But, McTominay is just a very young boy at this moment in time, and he's progressing very, very well. But there's still a long way for him to go in terms of what you need from a midfield position in terms of contribution in that final third in scoring goals.
He looks like a player who's being told, do not give the ball away at the moment. He's being told, don't do anything stupid, don't try and lob it forward, just play it backwards, sideways. That's his role in that team at the moment, isn't it?
And then I saw an interview with Jose after the Palace match. I think they were talking about just that. And he said, I'm telling him to shoot more. He's got goals in his locker, but right now this is the job I want him to do. So, obviously...
You need that type of player. Gary, you have it at City, don't you?
We have one.
Yeah.
Fernandinho.
Yeah, that's
and he
the
does
one.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, he what I was surprised at Liverpool on Saturday, because Lukaku was obviously had the beating of Lovren, because he played on him and he couldn't hold the heads of him. Fernandinho, if that happens with Lukaku when we play, he'll be in front of him. So he'll make that ball into him so much difficult. He's not going to be able to get his body in front of it because he's going to have something in front of him as well. And he shields so much. And Fernandinho has been a hero this season. When everybody else gets the plaudits, you don't realise the work he does and when he breaks up and how he defends, especially when you play with a big man up front like a Lukaku. He will get himself in front of it, and he ends up getting headers before the main strikers. Yeah. And I'm surprised that Liverpool didn't do something like that to get in front of it, especially when they could see the way it was going, because both goals came from balls into Lukaku. He was able to hold and put in or flick on.
It's an interesting test of the footballing philosophies, wasn't it? I mean, Jurgen Klopp said he wasn't going to do anything else other than try and attack that game.
Well, he did
it just didn't work. It wasn't effective, yeah.
He will. I think what you said, and Gaz, to all of us in the studio, I think Mourinho got his tactics right. He did. He got it to perfection. Liverpool didn't play because United didn't really let them. You're right what you said. He sat a little bit deeper, closed that space down so they couldn't operate in that area. So, yeah, I thought, United did well on the day, and I think
Liverpool
I thought they deserved to win it.
Teams that come out at them. And if they can get the early goal, and then the old game changes. If Liverpool don't normally go 1 or 2 behind, if they do, they find it a different game for them.
This is the XS Manchester Football Social, and we're going to tackle the elephant in the room. The football headlines have been all about something that happened off the pitches today rather than on them. Jamie Carragher was videoed spitting in the direction of a fan's car as he drove along, with the fans mocking his team and their defeat to Manchester United this weekend, which ended 2-1 rather, and it has divided opinion amongst fans. Some people think Carragher should lose his job over the incident. Some think it's all a storm in a teacup. He has since apologised twice. Sky Sports have now suspended the pundit, so he's not going to be on your TVs anytime soon. But what's your view? 0345 111 7625 is the phone number. 87711 is the text number. Gary, Mickey, it's a difficult one, this one, isn't it? Because there is absolutely no way to possibly excuse spitting on another person. It's a vile act, and it shouldn't be tolerated. But at the same time, people make mistakes, and I'm not sure someone.
I don't know what would come into Jamie's head to spit.
No.
Maybe say something, but then if he says he didn't see the young girl who was at the side, he probably wouldn't even swore. But I mean,
that doesn't make it okay.
Yeah, but
that makes it worse.
No, I'm not saying it makes it okay.
I know.
I just can't imagine he would have done that. I can't imagine Mickey Thomas doing it. I certainly wouldn't do it.
You guys have been on a football pitch. You know
he's had more vile things said to him and his family on the pitch and off the pitch as a player than if what he was saying that, you got beat 2-1. But I think there was more to that. And the guy, bless him, he's obviously goaded him, which, listen, you accept that. You're in the public eye, you have to accept it. I don't care what level you're at, you've got to accept it. And you either move away from it, move your car back, get behind him, get out of the way of him, if it upsets you that much. But the guy is filming. When you listen to every advert on radio now, put your phone into your glove because it's dangerous. And he's got his daughter in the car and he's filming Jamie Carragher driving along sideways and he's going forward.
There is no question.
I'm not taking the blame away from Jamie Carragher, but he shouldn't have done that either. But Jamie Carragher, I cannot for the life of me believe he did it. And if I'd not seen it, I wouldn't have believed it.
There is absolutely no question that the way it has been presented by the media has been incredibly one-sided and very, I mean, Jamie Carragher is never going to come out smelling of roses of this. But in terms of the shortness of the video, we only see the end. The way it's been presented, the idea, as you say, Gary, it was a chap on his phone that was filming the incident when he's driving, which he shouldn't be doing anyway, which doesn't make the spitting in any way better, but kind of shows that there are two people at fault in this scenario.
But, Jamie, spitting, I just can't believe it. I cannot. And it's really difficult for me to get my head round it. Listen, I don't know Jamie Carragher well. He's not a pal of mine or anything. But having seen the way he's conducted his life all the way through it as a player and whatever, and the things he does outside of football that nobody knows about. And again, I'm not condoning this manager. I'm just trying to give a bit. Yeah. He takes time to go out to help people, charities, different things. So for him to do that act is, if I'd not seen it, honestly, I would not have believed it. And really, you have to see something to believe it. But he obviously did it, and that's the most surprising thing. And he will face whatever he's got to face. Depends how Sky look at it. But, you know, if he's on the streets, Mickey, I don't know. Somebody told me in the office before we came on tonight, it's classed as
common assault, apparently, which is news to me as well. I didn't realise it was considered that serious.
But even still, it shocked me. And it takes a lot to shock me these days, but that did shock me.
I think the driver, I think Jamie are both out of order. I think both wrong. The losing this is that young girl, how it's going to affect her in the future. You know, as Gary said there, you know, it's there for everyone to see. You wouldn't believe it until you've seen it. Yep. So, you know, it's wrong, it's happened, and, you know, we all make mistakes, of course we do. And you have to learn from it. But it's a fundamental mistake, and, you know, it's very difficult to get away from the fact that the evidence is there for everyone to see. And you're right, Gary, what we said before we came on air. No matter what is said to you, and I've had loads of it throughout my career, and you have, Gary.
I still have
I've been abused and everything, but you have to be bigger than that, and you have to take it on the chin, because you are someone different. You are in the public eye. And
that's part of the deal, isn't it? At the end of the day, he's very well rewarded for working for Sky.
I like Jamie Carragher. I think he's a great guy, but unfortunately on this occasion, he's always stepped the mark, and he knows more than what we do. He's made a really big mistake.
To say the least.
I've blown hot and cold on this all
I'm not
day.
sure it's out of proportion.
I've changed my mind.
It's a vile act that's been done. It's not out of proportion.
But again, there is a culture at the moment of every single time someone makes a mistake, people demand they get their job taken away, which is a weird thing.
It depends at what level it is. I mean,
I can't decide. And Mickey makes a great point. If it was my little boy that had been spat at, I'd have a completely different opinion on this. It's very different when it's a personal reaction, when it's the personal attack. And I'm sure Jamie Carragher feels the same way about the abuse he was getting. If it was abuse to me, and nobody knows what was said to Carragher. Nobody knows what was said outside of that video.
I don't believe the reaction would have been for 2-1. Oh, you got beat 2-1, ha.
No.
No, there must be more than that. But if he's to say more than that, and he's got his daughter alongside him, I can't believe how far he would have gone to let his daughter hear if it had been vile and abusive language, because you wouldn't do that in front of your daughter. So,
and would you then carry on?
Yeah, you would do, because listen, you've been driving down the motorway many times, or you're in traffic, can't get out. I don't understand how it's been on a motorway. On a motorway, you can lose him, you can stop, you can slow down. The only way you can do is slow down alongside you, and then he's causing havoc.
And Jamie, Gary, he's made an apology, and you know, it's a big apology. He's not done it once, but he's done it twice now. So he knows what he's done and it was wrong, and you know.
But he's got a lot to lose.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I don't know which way this is going to go.